Welcome to the number one reason boutique owners stay stuck. And this is all about your unsold inventory and how to finally free your cash. So, inventory isn't just a product, it's actually your money that you've already spent. This is going to be the biggest mindset shift for most business owners because we often are looking at just the quantity of products that we have rather than the amount of money that's wrapped up in that inventory. So, if it's sitting unsold, your cash is stuck and your business can't move forward because your business needs cash to invest in new products, to invest in marketing, and ultimately to invest in its growth. So, who is this class for? This is for the person who has inventory that isn't moving and no clue why. You've likely tried ads, influencers are posting more, and nothing sticks. And ultimately, your sales are unpredictable and your backstock is starting to make you anxious. I've been there, I've done that, and I figured it out. Okay. So when I ask product-based business owners how they've tried to move their inventory, the answers are almost always the same. They say, I boosted a post, I sent more emails, I ran an ad, I changed the price, I ran a sale, I took a new picture. I'm sure that you've said this to yourself. I feel like I've tried everything and nothing is working. Well, those are marketing tools, not sales strategies. Most people don't understand or know the difference between what is a marketing tactic and what is a sales tactic. These things that we just named are marketing tactics. So, this is why you likely feel like you've tried everything when really you've only tried two to three things and not necessarily effectively. So, the real solution starts with numbers and a plan. Now, before we hop too far into this, I just want to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Jans, and I'm not just a coach. I'm actually a boutique owner who figured this out the hard way. And I've helped thousands of other product based business owners do the exact same, the easy way. I sold 86% of my total inventory last year after I decided that I wanted to rebrand. This means that I did not bring in any new products. I actually turned off all of my ads and I prioritized moving as much of my inventory as possible organically and through email marketing. And as a result, I sold over 86% of my inventory. I made all of my money back and I still generated a profit. Before I launched my online boutique, I worked in retail for 11 years, from luxury to fast fashion. I worked at Saks Fifth Avenue. My first job ever was at Forever 21. I've worked for stores like Michael Kors, Tumi, The Limited, Toys R Us. The list goes on and on. And I've sold everything from clothing, shoes, accessories, home goods, cosmetics, furniture, and everything in between. I'm a seven-figure product seller. I've processed over 18,000 orders. I've sold over 55,000 products. And I'm not just a coach teaching people how to sell stuff. I am a business owner myself who sells stuff. I turned my love for fashion and shopping into a nice looking bank account. And now I teach other women how to do the same. And just so that you know, I'm not joking here. These are some memories of all the different places or some of the places that I've worked. Michael Kors, DKNY, Toomey, Saks Fifth Avenue, the Limited, Dillard's, so on and so forth. I thought that I was literally going to work in the mall for the rest of my life. And my last two jobs went out of business. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to try this thing on my own. Craziest thing I ever did, but I'm so happy that I did it. So I used to wake up dreading my boutique until I stopped guessing and got clear. I thought I had a sales problem, but what I really had was a clarity problem. I didn't know what to post. I avoided checking inventory and looking at my numbers because it felt like failure. I thought I needed new customers, but really I needed a new system and I needed to figure out how to serve the customers I already had. I was sitting on a lot of cash and unsold inventory and I couldn't even see it because I wasn't tracking it. And I felt like I was doing everything right, but I was still struggling. But then I cracked the code. So this was the turning period in my business. The biggest turning period happened between August of 2019 and August of 2020. In August of 2019, my business made a total of $107.80. In the following month, September, I made 794. In October, 821. And then a year later, August 2020, my business made $28,639. In September, I made 30,480. And in October, 33,332. And I chose to show you these numbers because October of 2020 was the first month where I made my full entire salary for my previous job in a singular month. And this is when I knew that I had cracked the code. So I learned how to turn my inventory into income using the same retail sales tactics big brands use, but better. I stopped treating my business like a guessing game. I priced my products for profit, not just out of panic. I created repeatable systems for launching, restocking, and positioning. And I stopped discounting and started getting deposits consistently. And best of all, I helped other brand owners do the exact same thing better and quicker inside of my accelerator program. One student made over $4,000 in 28 minutes. Another student, she surpassed $500,000 in her online boutique as well. So let's hop into the good stuff. Why inventory clarity matters. It is so important for you to be clear about what's worth selling and what's taking up space. If you don't know what's selling well or what's worth it for you to continue to try to sell versus what's not, you're going to continue to fly blind every step of the way. You're going to run random sales. You're going to launch random campaigns and send random emails. You're going to restock product that maybe doesn't need to be restocked. You're going to convince yourself that getting new inventory is going to solve your problems. You're going to convince yourself that things that actually won't make a difference are going to make a difference. Marketing decisions actually should be informed by data, not guessing. And a lot of times we're marketing out of desperation. When things aren't working the way that we want them to work, we just start taking action because we've been trained to believe that if we're just consistent, things will eventually work out. But if you didn't know, you have a retail business. It's just online retail. And that means that there's a lot wrapped up in that business type that you need to learn. And a huge component of that is marketing. So, an important point here is that you can't sell confidently if you don't know what's actually going to make you money. Most brand owners don't know how much money is actually tied up in their old inventory. I mentioned that I was literally flying blind, making emotional decisions about discounting, bringing new products in, my pricing, so on and so forth. And I didn't even know how much of my money was wrapped up in my business. Oftentimes, they post whatever's cute, not what's actually going to be profitable, meaning they're not choosing to promote the things that have the most of their money wrapped up in it. They're choosing to promote the last two of something or the cutest, newest dress that they have when it's not actually going to make that much of a difference in your revenue and your profit. So when you organize by profit, not preference, your whole entire marketing strategy is going to change. And you'll stop buying new stuff just to feel busy, and you're going to start selling what already actually works. So these are three numbers that you need to know. The first is your retail value. Your retail value is how much your inventory is worth if you sell it. Then the second number you need to know is your profit potential of your inventory after cost. The third is cash that's already invested in your inventory, which is your cost of goods. So without these three numbers, every sale is going to move, or every sales move that you make is just a shot in the dark. If you don't know how much money is wrapped up in the inventory, meaning how much you can make if you sell it from a retail value perspective, and if you also don't know how much of your money is wrapped up in it, every single decision you make is going to be random. So most business owners only know this number. They know the total items that they have. When I talk to my students and people who come to me for help and they say, how do I get consistent sales? How do I sell my old inventory? I ask, how much inventory do you have? And they typically lead with the quantity of products that they have. They say, I have about 150 pieces. I have about 98 pieces. I have about 350 pieces, right? Well, the thing about this number is that it won't help you make any strategic decision whatsoever. There's nothing about this number that's going to help you to say, I know exactly what I'm going to do, right? So here are the numbers that you actually need to know. And just for context, I pulled these numbers from a Shopify app called Delirious Profit. I highly recommend. So outside of you knowing your total items, you need to know the retail value, which is the retail price here. At the time of the screenshot, my inventory was worth $26,777.60, which is money that I would make if I sold all of those 1,007 items. Next is cost, which is in the middle. The cost of goods was $11,776.29. That's my money. That's the money that I invested into this inventory. And then lastly is your potential profit, which is your retail price minus your cost of goods. We're in business to make a profit. So this is money that should be left over once I subtract my cost of goods. $15,001.31. So if I'm trying to figure out what to do from here and how much money do I even have the potential to make, looking at 1,007 items tells me nothing. But seeing $26,000 immediately makes me feel an urge to figure out what I need to do. And even more importantly, seeing the $11,000 of my money at a minimum makes me think, how do I get my $11,000 back out of the business, right? So you should be able to look at your inventory like this and be able to make informed decisions about what to do. Not only do you want to see your inventory as a whole, you want to be able to see your inventory broken down by category. And the only way for you to see your inventory broken down by category like this or by product type is for you to be recording your inventory by product type. So when I'm inputting a product, I am not just putting in the name of the product, the price I'm selling it for, and the collection I want it to be in. I'm also telling Shopify what type of product it is so that when I look at a report like this, I'm able to easily see where the most money within my business is wrapped up. So at the time of the screenshot, I had 77 total accessories. The retail price was $1,398. The cost of goods, my money, $239. Potential profit, $1,158. Now, just to skip through all of this, everybody can see the screen. Looking at this, I'm able to very easily and quickly decipher what needs my attention. I had 173 matching sets. The retail price of them was $6,484.20, a stark difference from the $1,300 in accessories, right? So if I were just looking at what I had the least quantity of and saying, I can't wait to be sold out of this, that would be me making an emotional decision that really doesn't feed my bank account, that really doesn't feed my pockets at the end of the day. I want to focus on what's going to produce the maximum amount of money for my business. Moving over to cost, those matching sets cost me $2,582.51, more than all of the other categories listed here. And then, even more importantly, is the profit, $3,901.69 wrapped up in profit, potential profit, in matching sets. So if I'm going to try to make a decision about what to give the bulk of my attention to, it's actually going to be the matching sets, not the last 25 cardigans, not the last 65 miscellaneous items here, right? So the big thing I want you to know is that it is your job to create the data that Shopify is going to be able to deliver to you. Shopify cannot deliver the data to you if you're not giving the data to it at the end of the day. So remember, I mentioned I input what the product type was. I told Shopify that this is an accessory, this is a dress, this is a bottom, this is a cardigan, so that when I'm looking at the data, I can clearly see where the money resides, where the money resides, where the money resides. Okay. So again, it's not just about how much inventory you have, it's about what kind of inventory you have and where the most revenue and potential profit lives in your business. So this is a bigger breakdown. As you can see, all the different categories are listed here: the retail price, the cost of potential profit. And basically, one thing is way more important than another, simply from a monetary perspective. So let me show you how to create this data. It's very, very simple. On every single product page on the right hand side, if you are utilizing it from a desktop or from a computer, you're going to see a box labeled product organization. Product organization is key to being able to make smart marketing decisions. So you're going to see category, product type, vendor, collections, and tags. Each of these fields is really important because they're a data point, and you will be able to pull reports that will show you which product categories are making the most money, generating the most profit. Also, which ones are not generating any money or generating the very least profit, right? Same for your product types, same for your vendors, same for your collections, and same for your tags. So the fields in the product organization box will ensure that Shopify is able to accurately reflect what is and is not selling, not just by individual style, but most importantly by category, type, vendor, collections, and lastly, tags. Now, another thing that is super important to make sure that you input is the cost. So, pricing isn't just about giving the customer a price, it's also about you planning for profit. Oftentimes, when I look at the back end of my students' and clients' Shopify accounts, I can obviously see the product details and the price, but they often don't put the cost per item. The only way for Shopify to tell you what your potential profit is for you to tell it how much money you spent on that product. So you need to put the cost of goods, which is how much money you spent to buy that product, plus the shipping costs to you. So, clean product data equals clarity about what to push, what to bundle, and also what to mark down. You move from emotional decisions to logical profit based decisions when your data is clean. Oftentimes when I'm looking at the back end of people's businesses, I like to say that their data is dirty, and dirty data does nothing for your business at the end of the day. And that is literally how you end up making emotional decisions about what to do with your inventory. So it's costing you twice as much money not having this information and allowing your inventory to keep piling up. Because the one thing that most don't know or understand about our industry is that retail doesn't waste time. It runs on seasonality. So this means that if you buy a product too late in a season, you're going to make it harder for yourself to sell it at full price and maybe even at a discount. Trends are going to die. So the longer that you hold on to something that's overly trendy, the less likely it is for you to be able to sell it. So when you're not properly organizing your products, tagging it with the fact that it's a trendy item or that it's a fall item or that it's a summer item and things like that, you're not going to be able to use your reports to make a solid decision about what to move and also when to move it. So it's costing you twice as much because you actually end up losing your money instead of making a profit, which is what you're actually in business to do. So, no matter what you sell, you need proper product organization to make marketing decisions. This is a screenshot from someone who took one of my classes. She said, "I listened to your advice to get rid of old inventory. My whole entire site is almost sold out and I made five figures in a few hours." So crazy. There is a method to the madness. As I mentioned, I worked in retail for over 11 years before I started a boutique. And during that 11 years, I watched all of these retailers not just sell all their inventory easily. I watched them struggle to sell their inventory, but more importantly, I got to witness the various strategies that they use to move their inventory out the door. So the truth is that one more boosted post isn't going to clear your inventory. Another discount email isn't going to save the day. Strategy, not tactics, is what is actually going to help you move your old inventory. So there are plenty of strategies to move old inventory, but you can't choose the right one until you're clear on what you're actually already holding on to. And once you have clarity, you can match the right strategy to the right product. Let me give you a few examples. So here are just three profit first ways to move old inventory. Because the number one thing I want you to know is that moving old inventory isn't just about running a sale or offering a discount. It could be doing bundles with intention. This might look like pairing a slow moving product with a fast moving or best selling product. For example, let's say you had a hoodie that's selling really well. You might pair it with joggers and you might say, together or separately, these products are $90, but if you buy them together, it's $75. So you're still maximizing your revenue and your profit and controlling your average order value without offering a huge discount on your entire store. So a bundle can help you to protect your margins and also move your inventory more steadily. You also should be doing strategic markdowns, control 20 to 30% clear out events rather than panic discounts. Every retailer I've ever worked for does markdowns, some of them on a dedicated schedule, like, every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, so on and so forth. But really, it's more dependent on cash flow. Are we seeing the cash flow that our business projected to see in this window of time? If not, we know that there's likely something that needs to be marked down. And markdowns are a great way to move product quickly, which ultimately is going to free up your cash. Now, another thing you could try is mystery boxes or mystery bags. Basically, you're using a surprise and delight tactic to make your customers buy. And it's going to help you to move multiple items all at once, protecting your profit if priced right. So the thing about mystery boxes is that they work really well, but they tend to only work well when you have a product assortment that makes sense. What I mean by that is if you sell a little bit of everything, you run the risk of people saying, I'm a little anxious or a little nervous about buying this mystery box because I don't want to risk getting something that I don't like or that wouldn't work for me. But when your business has a clear and obvious niche, it makes it a lot easier for you to sell mystery bags and mystery boxes because the customer feels a lot more confident that regardless of what you put into the box, it's going to mesh with their style or their preferences and things of that nature. So these are just three profit first ways, all of which designed to still generate you a profit. We're not saying let's mark everything down to 50% off. We're saying look at the inventory that's moving and or not moving and choose the right strategy for every individual piece of product. So again, these are just three out of 10 plus strategies that I teach. Each has a different level of risk, a different amount of speed, or how fast it's going to allow you to move inventory. And each one also has a different profit impact on your bottom line. The key is choosing the right lever for your business at the right time. And in my paid trainings, I'll walk you through the full playbook step by step. So, no matter how much inventory you have, there's a number of sales strategies that you can use. These are a couple of students from my program. Mariel, she made $20,000 in almost 90 days. And then Kanathia, she said that she sent an email out, $25 Black Friday deals at 7 a.m. this morning when she got off. And she woke up to over $600 in sales. She said, I went into the storage, pulled out old inventory from last year and the year before, and she was able to make $642 in a few hours. So different perspectives, different amounts of revenue, but the key here is that they use different strategies based off of what they sold, their margins, things of that nature. So the formula for clearing old inventory is first and foremost getting clear about what the inventory is, what it's worth, how much money of yours is wrapped up in it, and what your potential profit is. Secondly, is developing or choosing a strategy that you're going to employ to move that inventory. And finally, execution, because having a great strategy but lacking execution, it's not going to help you. So these three things combined are how you're going to be able to recover your cash. So the final point that I want to make is that inventory clarity is the first step to freeing your cash out of the business. Strategy is step 2. Execution is step 3. And today you started with clarity, but now you're ready for what's next.